Well, hello again from here in the heart of Gosforth, and what a glorious day it is too. Look at that behind me there. What isn't so glorious is my voice. Yeah, I've spent too long this week talking about Dan Ashworth across all stations and all platforms. But anyway, if you don't want to listen to the sound of my voice, I've got just the thing for you, and that is our brand new Mail Sport personal WhatsApp channel. Yeah, I'm going to put all the links, all the description, all the instructions in the description below this video. Please click on through to that. What you're going to get in there is direct links to all of our stories, latest news, voice notes from myself, real exclusive personal content. So if you unmute notifications by that little bell in the top right hand corner, you'll find when you're clicking it, yeah, it comes right to you. I think it's a really exciting adventure. Really looking forward to it. I hope you guys enjoy it. But for now, and that was quite an extraordinary morning at Eddie Howe's press conference there. A hell of a lot to pick through. I hope my voice holds up. I think it will do. But there's only one place to start, and that is with the man I've already mentioned in this video, Dan Ashworth. Yeah, I did the emergency recording last night when I talked through all of the reasons. Please find as well the link in the description below to that video, the reasons why I think he will go. But what is new today? Well, it's Eddie Howe's comments, and significantly, some of this morning felt like it was straight out of a John le Carré novel. Honestly, I was only, seconds away from writing the phrase industrial espionage at one point. Why do I say that? Well, top line in the story I've written for the Daily Mail is that Eddie Howe has expressed his fears over Dan Ashworth's access to Newcastle United's secrets. That could be the finances, inner workings of the club, practices, transfer targets heading into the summer. And when that was put to him, he said, no, I share those concerns, and he wants a resolution to this situation as soon as possible. And that makes sense, and this was put to him again by one of my colleagues. And in any other walk of life, the chances are, if someone was, as looks likely, set to defect to a direct rival, they would be asked to leave the building. It's quite an extraordinary situation that you've still got Dan Ashworth scheduled today, as far as we know, to lead those meetings with the club's senior scouts. Now, how can that be the case if, as we understand, and Newcastle United must be aware of this, that there is, we believe, an informal agreement in place with Manchester United for him to go there and be their new sporting director. Ashworth is now, we understand, waiting for Manchester United to make the formal approach to Newcastle and agree compensation, the terms of his likely departure. Now, it's quite unbelievable that he is still operating and still existing within St James's Park. I really did find that quite staggering. And like I said, Eddie didn't go as far as that today, but you've got to read between the lines to a degree. And I think it was really strong what he said in terms of, it was an answer to my question. He used the phrase, Dan Ashworth's power, and having that intelligence, he said, the intelligence of what is happening inside Newcastle, and those planning meetings and the intentions of the club going forward. So yeah, he also said as well, which I thought was very interesting, that the club will continue to operate and will get by just fine without Dan Ashworth, be that Dan Ashworth or anyone. He said, the practices, the structures are in place. They were in place before Dan came to the club, and that being the case, Eddie said, no, it's okay. They just needed a swift resolution to this situation. Now, where are we at with that? What's the latest information? Well, we're just waiting for Manchester United to knock on the front door and thrash out those terms with Newcastle. When that happens, the expectation is that Ashworth will tell Newcastle formally that he does want to go, and I still do expect to see movement on this next week. But nonetheless, there are still a few elements of uncertainty attached to it. Well, what did Eddie Howe say about Callum Wilson? Well, he confirmed our exclusive story from yesterday that Wilson will undergo pectoral surgery. In actual fact, he said he's being operated on as we speak. Eddie didn't put a time frame on it, but he did say he was hopeful that he would return before the end of the season. The information I had yesterday, that was between 9 and 12 weeks. Now, when would that keep Wilson out to? As I said in the video yesterday, I think you're looking at a best case scenario of a mid-April return, worst case perhaps early May, or even beyond that. Like I said, Eddie said hopefully we'll play again this season. Any sort of setback in the remainder of his campaign is in danger. And now, for me, this could end up costing Newcastle millions of pounds. Now, why do I say that? I wrote the story in January that there was a loan approach rebuffed from Atletico Madrid for Callum Wilson. Now, the information I had then was that this summer, if not in January, this summer, it is likely that Wilson would move on. He'll be 32 by then. There'll be 12 months to run on his contract. I think there is a realisation from both parties that the time might actually be right. Now, why could this cost Newcastle United money? Well, Wilson, if he stays fit, or if he had stayed fit between now and the end of the season, got into the Euro 24 squad, as was his wish. I spoke to him about that last week. He said he had the dates marked out in his diary for the Euros. If he does that, he scores goals, and we see the Callum Wilson we all know he is, and on his day he is an England striker. Well, you're looking there at a player worth 15 to 20 million pound, whether he's staying domestically or he's going abroad, as I think was more likely to be the case. Now, that changes massively if he spends between now and the end of the season the bulk of it on in the treatment room, on the sidelines. You're potentially shaving £10 million off that for a 32-year-old who was hardly featured from Christmas onwards. You'd be doing well to get 5 to 10 million. So that's why there's a double blow for Newcastle. They've lost a player, a very good player in the immediacy, but also going forward as well, his value was taking a hell of a hit. It might actually, in a strange way, be the case that if there isn't any market value in Callum Wilson next summer, might it just be worth keeping him around during the final 12 months of his contract, almost as a third striker, because as we know, when he is fit and when he doesn't have to play, perhaps he can't get injured. So if he was part of a front three, maybe there is a future at the club from beyond this summer. Either way, I think with Callum now, because of this latest injury, this latest setback, everything on so many levels, Newcastle, England, his future beyond that is really up in the air. Injury news elsewhere. Now, Eddie did smile, and in fact he looked in my direction when he said, listen to my words. Yeah, I'll take you back 7 days when he said that Anthony Gordon hadn't trained yet and he didn't know when he would train. Well, we interpreted that as Gordon would be missing down at Forest. So when Anthony Gordon then hopped off the team bus 24 hours later, we got a little bit of a surprise. No, Eddie wasn't. People come back on social media and say, why do you lie to you? He didn't lie. I think that was a case of a room full of journalists, and I wasn't alone in this, definitely wasn't alone, kind of misinterpreting the message. But no, he gave us a little disclaimer this morning. Listen to what I'm going to say. Now, what did he say? On Alexander Isak, he said he probably won't feature tomorrow. And to be honest, it wasn't a probably won't, it was more probably won't feature tomorrow. So I think that to me, and again, I'm trying to read between the lines to a degree, that to me tells me that Isak won't be in the squad tomorrow, perhaps an outside chance of the bench. I think I wrote in the Callum Wilson story yesterday that he was very, very close and they were hopeful he might be able to feature this weekend. Eddie kind of reiterated that by saying, they've been really pleased with his progress, but unlikely he features tomorrow. Like I say, the bench at best. Jacob Murphy, he hasn't trained until today. There's a chance he could have trained today, so he may be on the bench tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see on that front. And the other ones, Elliot Anderson, Matt Targett, are still working towards their comeback, which is going to be the end of the month at the earliest. Oh, and Joe Willock, yeah, how can I forget, given I've spoken so much about the importance of Willock. He said he's in a similar boat to Isak, working well, pleased with his progress, he's close, but this weekend might just come too soon. Now, what do I think is going to happen at home to Bournemouth tomorrow? And I've just been asked for a prediction in the coffee shop there. I'd go a 3-3 draw. I think that's the only confidence I've got in Newcastle at the moment, is that they're going to score goals and they're going to concede goals as well. As I said, it's great fun because during the course of every 90 minutes, you're seeing their strengths and their weaknesses being exposed and being showcased. They'll win games because they've got, and we saw this at Forest, I think this is a prime case really, when all of that was on display. They'll win games because they've got a good spirit, they've got that good muscle memory in terms of the little combinations on the pitch. They're playing for the manager, they've always played for the manager, they'll always continue to do it for the manager. There's no issue there, and they've got brilliant players who can produce moments of inspiration, evidenced by Bruno Guimaraes last weekend. Now, why would you be less confident? Well, because those weaknesses, those flaws are being exposed as well, game on game, and to that end, you just don't really know what you're going to get. And the irony is, during the period when Newcastle's strikers have been unfit, or coming in, going out, injured, they're actually scoring goals. Can that last forever? There's got to be a concern that there's going to be a game when Fabian Schär or Sean Longstaff doesn't score. If that's tomorrow, we've seen, Bournemouth have gone to Man United and won. They're a good side, They've got some good players in there, half of which potentially are Newcastle transfer targets. But no, in honesty, if I'm asked for a prediction tomorrow, I would probably go a high scoring draw. But that's not good enough for where Newcastle want to get to. They've got a really run of good winnable home games between now and the end of the season. There's only Tottenham they've got left to play out of the top 7 at home. So tomorrow, really, if they want to get back in that top 6, is a game they've got to win. Well, thank you again for watching, guys. I'll direct you once more back to the link below, which will take you through to our new Newcastle United Mail Sport WhatsApp channel. Please subscribe to that. There'll be loads of content in there tomorrow around the game against Bournemouth. I'll also be back on this channel in about 24 hours time reflecting on that 3-3 draw. Would you take that? Probably not from a Newcastle perspective, but nonetheless it would give us guys plenty to write about, as ever, with Newcastle United. Thank you again for watching. Please hit like, subscribe and comment as well. Loads to talk about below the line. Okay guys, see you soon. Bye bye.